So welcome back to the show. So with transfer deadline day fast approaching, we're joined by a football agent of Debonair Management Agency, Jody Saki. So welcome to the show, Jody.
Well,
thank you for joining us. So tell us a little bit about DMA and what you do.
DMA is a small agency. We specialise in contract negotiations, image rights, as well as sponsorship.
And what do you do for your players as well?
Well, we focus a lot on wealth management as well as mental health with our players.
So tell us a little bit about wealth management. When you say wealth management, what do you mean?
Wealth management is just looking after their finances, making sure they put money away after their football career. Also, 2014, there was 140 players that filed for bankruptcy. A lot of them all of them ex-professionals.
So it's important that they do manage their money in the right way. And how involved are you with that? Do you kind of... are you effectively their accountant?
No. We've got many external partners, financial advisors, accountants, you name it. We've got a lot in our stable.
And then, so talking a little bit about their mental health as well, what steps do you take to look after?
Well, like I said, with our external partners, we have therapists, sports therapists. We stress that physical fitness is as much as important as your mental health.
And then, so obviously there's a lot of players trying to get into the game that will want to kind of join you. You may take them on. They may not make it. Do you then look after them after, because that's when the mental side of things can really come in? Or is it a cutthroat industry?
No. We always look after all our clients. I mean, depression does come in when they get released from certain clubs, and we're always there to put our arm around our players.
So, Jody, tell us a little bit about the financial fair play. It's a rule that seemed to come from nowhere. It seemed to come and go. I don't think many football fans fully understand the concept of what it is, what it's there for. So
Yusuf, not even directors of small clubs even know what the financial fair play is. I'm going to give you a basic definition to it. So what we have is competitions: UEFA, Premiership, Championship, League 1, League 2. Okay, so with the UEFA, you cannot overspend. You cannot be over 45 million euros in 3 seasons. If you are, then there will be sanctions, whether a warning, a fine, a transfer embargo. So what happens if you are over 45 million in 3 seasons? It falls to the owner to whether they want to put equity into the club. If they choose not to, that's where the sanctions come. Premiership.
So does that kind of explain why, like you look at Man City, the Etihad Stadium, effectively they're sponsoring themselves. Is that a part of that? Is that to make it look like that they've got a lot more money than they maybe have, or they've got more coming in?
Well, with Man City, they've just got endless pit of money.
Could they afford Lionel Messi?
Definitely. There's only 2 clubs in Europe that can afford Lionel Messi, and City is one of them, PSG being the other.
PSG? So you don't include Chelsea as a club that could afford him?
No, Chelsea wouldn't do it. They can afford it, but they wouldn't do it.
You don't see him going there?
No.
Do you see him moving? I know that's not quite London, but...
He always stressed that he wanted to stay at Barcelona and finish his career at Barcelona. So moving, I can't see it. It all depends on the elections they're having in Barcelona, which they're bringing forward.
Yeah, because I think, like I said, talking about other things, I'm just looking at the transfer market itself. Like, it seems, obviously, you've touched on financial fair play, and, you know, looking at Spurs and Chelsea, you think that, in terms of Chelsea, that the financial fair play kind of plays in it? Because they've, you only see a bit of business I seem to be seeing is that you've got Andre Schürrle, who's maybe moving to Borussia Dortmund or Wolfsburg, and they're trying to get Cuadrado from Fiorentina.
Yes.
So is that maybe FFP comes into it?
That is definitely FFP, and what you don't see that's happening behind the scenes are the reserve players as well as the under-21 players that are being loaned out, that are being sold, because I think they want to do some big business in the summer. So they're just trying to offload all those fringe players for the summer. Who knows? it may be Messi that they're doing this all for.
Well, you say someone like McCracken, and he'd be fine off their books then.
I think he's still on their books, isn't
I
he?
think he's still in their books, like McCracken. You've got players like Canuta or something. Is he still in their books?
Kakuta.
Yeah.
I think he's at Vietnamese Arnhem.
Oh, but is he still a Chelsea
Yeah,
player?
he's still a Chelsea
And you've got
player.
Bamford at Bamford at Middlesbrough. He's still on their books.
Nathaniel Chipola.
Blackman as well.
Yep.
Their goalie.
Yeah. So I think a lot of those players will be going out at the end of the season.
So obviously we're now in the transfer window, and there hasn't been not many comings and goings in terms of the top London clubs. You look at the Spurs, the Chelsea, the Arsenals. Not much seems to be happening. Yet, as is every year, we get to transfer deadline day, and there's a mad panic for teams to go out there and just buy whoever's available. Now, why do teams leave it that late? Do they think they're going to get a cheaper price, or?
Well, if you really look closely, none of the big clubs really spend that much in January. With Arsenal, we know why they spent on Paul Lister, because they do need a central defender. But when you look at Man City, we know why they spent on Wilfred Bonney for the Champions League. But then if you look at a lot of the other clubs, there's no good players out there in January. So
we can't talk about transfer deadline day without talking about QPR and Harry Redknapp, the wheeler dealer himself.
Yeah.
Any business going on down at QPR?
Do you know what I think? I think Tony Fernandes is thinking, we're in a relegation fight. I can't fork out the money. I can't fork out the money and then lose it if we get relegated. That happened 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
When they got relegated, and there was players in the championships on like 70 grand a week in the championship. So I don't think he's going to go down that route again.
Now they have signed QPR. They have signed Zarate from West Ham on loan.
Yeah.
Now talk to me a little bit about loan deals. Beneficial for clubs, or is it for players?
I think it is, because when you've got players that are in the squad that can't get a game, and they probably want it, it's a window for them to go and show their skills, show what they can do, and go to other clubs. So it's just advertising their talent. It's good for the clubs. It's good for the players.
Well, yeah, I'm looking at Crystal Palace. They seem to be doing some sort of business. Like, obviously, they've had Sonogo, who's on loan for Arsenal, but I'm hearing rumours about Amiobi, who's free agent, released by Newcastle at the end of last season. Obviously, he's a connection with Alan Pardew. I'm looking at Jordan Much, who's struggling at Queen's Park Rangers. Is there any sort of truth in those rumours? Is there the same sort of noises you're hearing?
I think Jordan Much is more than likely going to go to Crystal Palace. Amiobi, if you look into it, they just have too many strikers at Crystal Palace, and they've got decent strikers as well. So Amiobi was never one of those strikers that's going to get you goals.
Is he sort of the target man?
Target
He was
man.
more like a target man.
And Palace don't play that football.
Well, if you want to sort of, they're not always going to play the right way. There's going to be times when they might need a target man. But I was just asking that question because Alan Pardew's worked with him at Newcastle, and he is a free agent.
Yeah.
And they're looking towards the end of the season, just for the end of the season, see how it goes. Because you never know. Crystal Palace's purple patch could. You know what purple patch is like. They got to end sometime.
Yeah, I've even heard of Lambert going there, Ricky Lambert.
To Palace.
Yeah, but I don't think there's a lot in that, because.
What about Zaha at Palace? Could that move become permanent?
Who knows? I mean, he's back in London, back around his family and friends. It's a good move.
But more
for
importantly,
him.
he's back playing, and he's back enjoying his football. He struggled at Man United. They paid a pretty penny for him. Are Crystal Palace going to be able to afford him, essentially, to bring him back? Surely they're going to have to pay pretty much what they received for him.
Yeah, no, it'll probably be less than that. But I mean, football's about elevation. I mean, he needs to think where he wants his career to go. He went to Man United. He was in the England setup. He needs to elevate himself a bit more, and just, if it's not going to happen at Man United, there's no problem moving abroad. I have a lot of clients that are in Belgium, in Denmark, and they're doing the business.
We're talking of abroad. We're talking about, we got a guy from that. We got Ravel Morrison. Looking to go to Lazio in Italy.
I think Ravel Morrison is one of British football's best current players out there now.
Yeah, but is that a case of him not being managed well in terms of, like, as we said earlier, the mental side of the game? He's perhaps not been nurtured enough.
Well, then you can't really say that, because how many people have there been to put an arm around him? There's been Sam Allardyce, there's been Alex Ferguson.
But have those people actually done that? Have they actually put their arm around him and done that?
There
We
were
don't see
even
what
players
goes on
that
behind.
done that. Rio Ferdinand, Paul Scholes, Gary Neville. Players would tried to be there for him.
So if he was to join your agency, say, do you think you could manage him a little better in terms of the mental side?
DMA can do that, definitely.
That sounds good. So going back to the loan, just quickly before we go to a break, Millwall have brought in 6 players on loan in this transfer window. Now, do you think personally that for a club that's struggling at the bottom of the Championship, is it wise to bring in that many loan signings? I mean, 5 of them played on Tuesday and they got a 0-0 draw against Reading, so a good result in a way, seeing as they had 10 men. But is there a case of overdoing it in the loan system, taking too many players on loan, and then come the end of the season, they all go back to their clubs and you're left without a squad?
But if they beat the drop?
Well, that's the
It
thing.
all works
Can they
out.
do it with these many players on loan? Because obviously they're coming in January. They don't have much time to get to know other teammates and kind of gel. So is it a risky move?
But then if they perform, there'll be other clubs out there for them.
So it's a case of they feel like they're in a shop window
Yeah.
whilst on loan.
Yeah, I mean, at their parent club, they're not playing. So if they perform, it's just another club comes in for them.
And so obviously Millwall, they've signed 6 already. We've still got a few more days of the transfer deadline. They are going to bring in a couple more. You personally, do you think they can beat the drop with all these loan signings?
The Championship is one of the weirdest league in the whole wide world. I mean, I remember, who was at the top about 3 months ago? It was Brentford?
Forest, Derby.
Forest, yes, Forest and Derby. Now I looked at it, and Bournemouth is at the top.
Bournemouth at the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just really
You
weird.
haven't mentioned Middlesbrough.
There you go. I didn't even know Middlesbrough were in the reckoning.
They're flying high, Middlesbrough.
Yeah, so I can't. It's like, if you're a betting man, stay away from the Championship.
But in terms of
Not that I
Millwall,
condone betting.
Millwall have gone 5 points adrift now, so it's a tough ask for these players coming in on loan to pick them out of that.
Yeah. I mean, who knows if Millwall?
Who knows? Championship, great league to be in.
Well, you only say because Fulham are in it.
So join us after this break, where we'll talk about a few more transfers and we'll look ahead to the weekend's football.